A Huntingburg woman's home is set to be demolished. More on that decision. Plus, Carrie Schneider is back with our friends at the Dubois County Humane Society, and Scott Ebelair and Tom Bain talk about this weekend's St. Anthony Sesquicentennial Fest tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin with the decision to demolish the home of a Huntingburg woman. This morning, the Huntingburg Board of Public Works formally voted to demolish the home of Mary Birch. The decision comes after the board opted to stay that order last month to allow Birch more time to get her home in order. Now, Birch was in attendance once again this morning. She testified that improvements have been made and more would have been done to the home. She asked the board for another 30 days to continue working on the home, and that request was denied. Birch noted that she had applied for a $7,500 grant from the USDA. She stated that she had sufficient funds to continue the improvements. However, board member Roger Cox said he had been past the home numerous times since last month's meeting. He says he felt it was not possible for Birch to afford repairs to the home to get it up to city code. Both Cox and fellow board member Keith Souders felt Birch's money could be better spent. In the end, the board felt that the demolition was in the best interest of all involved. City Code Enforcement Officer Steve Collett, along with Sean Warner with the Dubois County Health Department, and local TRICAP Home Inspector Eric Curtis inspected the home 3 times, most recently yesterday. Collett concluded that little progress was made in the last month.
One would hope that, there was improvement showing, and there was, but again, it was still with when she started and with where she's at now, there is still work, ahead of Ms. Birch.
Meanwhile, Huntingburg Mayor Denny Spinner noted that it was a tough decision. However, he says the situation was hazardous and had to be dealt with.
For Mary, it's a difficult situation, but it's also an unsafe situation for anyone to be occupying that home. And while we sympathize with the fact that this is her home and has been for years, it is our duty to uphold the findings of what our health department, what our own code enforcement, and what other inspectors have seen as an unsafe situation.
With today's decision, Birch now has 10 days to file an appeal with either the Dubois Superior or Circuit Courts. In the meantime, she must prove that efforts are being made to demolish the home within the next 30 days. The demolition has to be done in the next 60 days. A Wycliffe man escaped injury when wet pavement caused his truck to roll over near Celestine yesterday afternoon. At 1:45 p.m., Dubois County Sheriff's deputies were called to an area along State Road 164 just east of County Road 900 East. Deputies say 65-year-old John Rogers had been going eastbound on State Road 164 when his truck hydroplaned on the wet roadway. Rogers then lost control of the truck and went off of the left side of the roadway. His truck hit an embankment, which caused it to overturn, and it came to rest on its roof. As mentioned, Rogers escaped injury in the accident, though his truck was totaled. State Road 164 was down to 1 lane of traffic while the accident scene was being cleaned up. Celestine first responders and Memorial Hospital EMS also assisted. A new hangar for the Huntingburg Airport has taken another step towards becoming reality. Last night, the Dubois County Airport Authority opened 5 bids for the project. The bids were classified into Division A and Division B. 3 bids were Division A bids, while the other 2 were in Division B. Now, all 5 bids came in higher than what Wolpert Engineering had estimated. Airport manager Travis McQueen says in spite of that, the project will continue to move forward.
Our engineer does the best that they can to estimate what they forecast or think that bid will be when it comes in. And this evening we saw the numbers being larger than what the engineer had estimated that. Was it surprising? Of course, because we're basing a lot of assumptions on those engineer estimates. But we'll take it in internally and digest it.
Wolpert will now go through the bids and come up with a recommendation for the board. That recommendation will be heard during a special meeting set up for Thursday at noon. That meeting will be held at the airport. In other business, the board approved its 2015 budget. It's broken down into 2 funds, which are the operating budget and the cumulative budget. The operating budget is set at just over $392,500 for next year, while the cumulative budget will be at $300,000. The overall budget is up 13% this year, a change that McQueen attributed to the hiring of certified flight instructors for student flight training, along with rising costs of insurance. McQueen says all is well with this year's budget and that things should stay that way in future years.
I would not foresee us having to make any drastic changes at this point in time. Every year, at the end of the year, we have been very blessed to be very frugal and conservative of having a surplus budget. So every year we're transferring funds from a general operating budget into a rainy day fund. So I don't see us having to worry about those additional costs right now.
The budget will be brought before the DuBois County Council for their approval on August 18th. The budget will also have to be approved by the Huntingburg City Council. McQueen says a date for that presentation is still being worked out. Finally this evening, local officials are again warning folks to beware of school buses as school is now getting back in session. At a press conference this afternoon, DuBois County Sheriff Donnie Lampert again asked the public to consider child safety when out on the roads. Now, the Sheriff's Department has already gotten a lot of complaints in regards to people running school bus stop arms. Lampert says that type of behavior will not be tolerated. He also says other agencies have been working with the Sheriff's Department to crack down on drivers who choose to break the law.
The amazing thing is that it's not, I don't consider help from state police. I consider state police as a part of us and us a part of them. Same with Ferdinand PD, Huntingburg PD, the town marshals with Holland and Birdseye, Jasper Police Department. It's amazing how those departments will work together. Those city departments will actually come out and help out in the county. Those county and state departments will come into the cities and help out there. So yeah, they're a big part of us, all law enforcement in DuBois County.
Now, Greater Jasper Superintendent Dr. Tracy Lori also took part in this afternoon's press conference. Lori says part of the problem has to do with people not always paying attention to what they're doing while driving.
I think part of the issue is that we just have distracted drivers, whether it's the time that they've allotted for their travel to distractions with technology. I can't attest to that, but I do think that is one factor. And I do think it's just an awareness and a reminder that school has started and we need to be aware that we have more vehicles on the road. We have students who are traveling to and from school and we need to be cognizant of that.
Running a school bus stop arm is a Class A infraction in Indiana. That infraction carries a $124 fine and could even result in someone's license being suspended. Lampert is again reminding parents and guardians to teach their kids about being safe when getting onto or off of the school bus. That includes looking both ways before crossing the street. All right, coming up after the break, Carrie is back with our friends at the DuBois County Humane Society, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Guxell, and Inform with Scott Evelair and Tom Bain. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.